We're excited to be here talking about loyalty and our new ByteBucks platform. I'm Jim Coia. I've been with VE for, 12 plus years now. And
I'm Bradlee Whitson. I've been here for 8 or so months now.
Yeah. Former operator. So we did a lot of research when we created ByteBucks. We're trying to figure out, how to drive consumer behavior, try to drive purchase intent when we were creating ByteBucks, give operators a way to be stickier with their accounts, and also, just drive true loyalty, drive purchase intent, purchase behavior. Since all operators are out there competing for the same customer base and so forth, we wanted to do something where each operator can make themselves a little bit unique in the space and not just do one blanket program across the board.
So I think one thing that's interesting with loyalty right now is like when I think about what places I want to go to, whether it's grabbing lunch, stopping by a grocery store after work, I tend to default to the places I have loyalty programs where I tend to go. Maybe it's part of being a part of the gamified generation where I'm constantly looking for what are the points I could be earning? What's the value I'm getting back for my shopping? I'm deciding I'm going to buy something, but if there's a way for me to get a little something back for it, it kind of incentivizes me to go there. And so through the years, I think that's really changed where we decide to shop and where we decide to spend our dollars. It used to be that convenience was key. It's the spot that I'm going to stop to on the way home. It's popping down to the break room in my office because it's convenient, it's quick, and I want to get something and go. But over these last number of years, we've really been seeing a shift more and more where consumers are looking to spend the money, where they feel like they've got some loyalty to a shop and a shop's got loyalty back to them, where they feel this connection to what they're doing. And to be frank, that's something that's quite different for those of us in the convenience solution industries to think about. We always tipped our hat towards being the most convenient solutions or the places where people are going to come to at work. We bring the solutions to where our consumers are, but realistically now we have to start winning those customers over. This shift to self-service is, really kind of forced us to open up, think a little bit differently about how we're going to go to market, how we win our customers, and how we can maximize the sales in our locations.
And a lot of times, especially what exists in our industry today, a misconception with loyalty is you're just giving people free stuff, right? You're just, hey, you earn some points, here's $1, or, here's a free product and so forth. But to your point you just made as well, it's about the gamification of it as well. It's, can you like with your airlines, with your hotels, you have a brand awareness or you have loyalty toward those specific hotels or airlines, even though they may not be the most convenient at that time because of the points and the tiers and the things that you can earn. And so, so in those ways, the airlines, the hotels, they're doing a good job of influencing your behavior and making you purchase there or recommending you purchase there. And so you want to drive people there more often, and you also want them to, to spend more, increase their basket size and so forth because of the gamification aspect.
Well, Jim, I think it's helping to build a connection to the consumer. And it's before, a lot of places took it for granted that they're going to have their consumers. And nowadays it's really important for you as a business to know your consumer. And part of the way to do that is not just throwing, to your point, free products out them, but actually about using loyalty to build a relationship, make it to where they want to keep coming back to you to spend their money.
Yeah, good point.
And I think this is exactly something that operators really need to start concerning themselves with. Like I mentioned before, historically, the convenience solutions business, it's in our name. We were just the convenient location for people to go to. It was in your break rooms. It's in your lobby of your building. It's in the waiting area of your hospital or healthcare provider. And we thought that was good enough. It was good enough to be able to earn people's business because we have them there. We kind of have them captured in that moment. But if you think about lately, if you ask a typical, convenience solutions operator who their competitors are, A lot of them would list, maybe some of the other local independents or regional or even national convenience solutions providers. But realistically, nowadays, we're competing against DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and all these delivery services who can bring snacks and drinks and meals right to your doorstep. And those apps are doing a great job trying to drive loyalty. And so I think it's, as an operator, being convenient isn't enough anymore. We need to understand our consumers. We've got to build that relationship. And let's face it, one of the other unique things that's a challenge in our industry is because we're typically at the workplace or where the consumers are, we typically can't grow our consumer pool as much as we would absolutely love to. If you have the vending or a micro market in a break room at a manufacturing facility, try as we might, we can't get them to hire more people. We're not able to grow the number of people who have access to that location. So realistically, one of the things that we need to do is meet that consumer, establish the connection with them as a way to be able to increase revenue, sell more product, drive larger baskets. Because as things are becoming more and more competitive, as costs are going up, as operators are feeling more pressure than they've ever felt before, we have to do some ways to help increase the revenue that we can bring in, adjust the mix in terms of the products that we're able to sell to make sure that we can continue to grow and drive our businesses. And realistically, loyalty is going to allow us to do that. I think one of the benefits of loyalty, and true loyalty, not, Jim, to again your point earlier, the let's just give some free stuff away, but loyalty throughout all the different ways we can achieve this is a way to help start changing people's behaviors. Gamification is a critical one. Things that we can do to get consumers to say, hey, you know what, I'm close to leveling up to another tier. I don't know about you, but I've gone on mileage runs with my local airline to make sure I hit the next loyalty platform at the end of the year. Not on the
company's dime, though, right?
Of course, Bradlee? Never on the company's dime.
That would be inappropriate.
Completely inappropriate. But I think it's the sort of thing, we've all got a story of where we've had to turn around and done things to try to level up to that next tier within the loyalty, or make sure you spend your points before you're about to lose them. I know I just recently went and took the family out for a dessert at a national chain purely because we knew we were about to lose our loyalty points and wanted to make sure we redeemed the coffee and donuts before it was too late.
Awesome. Part of what we'll talk about here in a little bit is ways to continue to drive that. So rewarding people differently based on how many times they're visiting the market, your market, or how many times and how much they're spending. If you can start to reward those people in a different way too, it'll mean more to that consumer and they'll continue to be loyal and keep coming back as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Jim. There's really two different pieces to this. The one part of it is how to keep those consumers that are important to you, that are spending with you, and keep them engaged and keep them, using our retail channels. But it's also too about providing incentives out there, ways for people to engage with you for the first time. So it's both trying to grow the number of people that are using our solutions, as well as making sure we're driving more and more spend from those people that already are consumers.
So how we want to, part of the ByteBucks platform is we wanted to create ways, to Bradlee's point that he just made, is you can reward your consumers that are there for the first time, but also continue to reward the people that are continuously visiting you. And you'll see some of the things we talk about with tiers. You can give different percentages off for tiers, do different product promotions with tiers, and so forth.
I also think too, one of the critical things of loyalty here is when consumers and I've already been accused of being the bad employee, but perhaps I think we've all had those moments where we want to just stretch our legs, get away from the desk, maybe have a little bit of Teams fatigue and just need to stretch ourselves for a little bit. So one of the things we find unique about this industry is, our consumers, will enter their break rooms, will want to be stretching their legs, will just be looking for, a chance to mentally decompress. And so realistically, those consumers haven't committed to opening their wallet yet. If you think about a traditional convenience store or other things, a consumer who drives to a 7-Eleven, Quick Check, or a Wawa has already decided they're probably going to buy something. And in that case, loyalty there is about getting people to quite frankly, spend more. In our case, one of the unique aspects of our business is we're looking for our consumers. They're walking into our micro markets, they're walking into our pantry setups in different places, not necessarily committed to buying anything, quite frankly, maybe just looking for an escape for a few minutes. And so I think one of the things that loyalty can do is help take some of those people who maybe were, a captive audience member who are just wandering through the break room to stretch their legs and get them to actually commit to buying something. They may have seen a push notification that there's some sort of deal taking place, or they see some advertising about, extra points that could be earned. And loyalty is a way to start engaging with them to convince them to open up their wallet and buy something. And then we can work on trying to drive the ticket.
In today's environment, we've talked a little bit about this, and Bradlee, I'm sure you can speak to some of these points based on your experience that you've had in the past too. But flexibility is very important in this. And how easy is it to roll out? Is it easy for me to roll out these programs to new locations, to onboard our consumers, and so forth? Can we target different locations in a different way? Say, hey, I have a big multi-location manufacturer that I want to go after. Can I make a plan specifically designed to them that's going to make it harder for them to ask me, to replace me or something in the future? I would imagine you faced some of these challenges back in your day as an operator.
Yeah, completely.
So long ago.
Yeah, so long ago. As a third generation operator, this is exactly it. Today's operator is so many different things pressuring them for their time and, quite frankly, their pocketbook, that they don't need something that's going to be complex, adding another burden to what they have to do each and every day. So what operators realistically need, they need something that's simple, that they're going to be able to get out there, that's going to help move the needle. It's going to allow them to target their various customers. Unfortunately, a lot of platforms that are out there are kind of broad brushed and one size fits all. And quite frankly, the way that you need to approach say a manufacturing facility is going to be incredibly different than how you might approach in a housing complex or an apartment building. And so I think from that standpoint, when operators try to force a loyalty platform into a bunch of different locations, they may at times tend to not get the desired effects they're looking for. So they need that flexibility to be able to target a program for the specific consumers that they have there. And then, quite frankly, there's enough other, demands hitting their pocketbooks right now. Operators need a way to do this without more hands reaching into their pockets. I remember my grandfather, who founded my family's company, used to say, whenever we would have an expense, he would look at me, he would say, "Bradlee, that's going to cost a lot of packs of crackers." And quite frankly, that's how we have to think of things. It's the pennies that start adding up, and we don't need more pennies taken out of our pockets by an operator. We need this to help. This shouldn't be another line item expense. This needs to help drive increased revenue, drive participation, and actually be a benefit to the operator. And that's really what they need out of their loyalty platform.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like a lot of things that exist today, it's a blanket program. It's there to check a box. Maybe the operator that was there before you had a program, and so you have to introduce something. And so it would be nice if that program actually made a difference on your bottom line, and that's kind of what we're after here.
Yeah, we don't just need RFP fodder. We actually need to move the financial needle.
Yeah, what a concept. Just a couple examples. Simple campaigns and things that we can do here. You have the option to do double points on certain days or certain times. You spend X amount of dollars and you get bonus rewards. You can do dollars off individual products. And I think one of the we've kind of touched on a little bit here too. One of the really cool parts about Bite Bucks is you can do that. You can do that for any location. It doesn't have to be all of your locations. It can be unique to that location. But two, one of my favorite things about the program that we've created, and really we took a lot of operator feedback when we designed this, and one of my favorite ideas that we've implemented is the idea of tiers. And so, you can, and we have default tiers to make it simple when you start, but these are things that you're able to adjust. And so the people that are at your top tier, you can reward them in a different way. You can say, hey, it takes you less points to redeem to get $1, dollars back, or you can run specific promotions geared toward that tier, or you can say, hey, when you hit this tier, you're visiting my market every day. Hey, 5% off all of your purchases, things like that. And so these are just a few ideas that we had as we came up with this program, and some of the things we feel like makes it really unique and starts to address some of these problems.
I think that's exactly it, Jim. And I think there's also, too, some operational challenges that the convenience solution operators face that this can help with as well. Look, we've all heard through the years the term Fresh Food Fridays and the ability to discount your food on a Friday afternoon. But realistically, as I'm sure all of you know out there, operator challenges are much bigger than that. And the operational challenges we face aren't just tied to getting rid of food on a Friday, but we're now starting to figure out how do we best balance the load on our trucks, best utilize the resources that our drivers. We have to manage how we're pre-kitting in our warehouses and what the load is on the pick line in any particular day. And so I think the interplay of loyalty and what we can start doing to do targeted rewards, not just on a category of products at the end of the week, but doing things throughout the week to try to drive holistic spending, extra points on Tuesdays, things that we can do to help drive more participation in the market in advance of pre-kitting to then go the next day. It's really a sunk cost when we're rolling our trucks. Wouldn't it be great to have more levers that we can use to increase the amount of product, increase the revenue per visit when we're going out to a location the next day? A loyalty program can help us get to these, help us to accomplish these things.
That's an interesting point. And, people are continuing, as a piece of this, we have an app that's associated with it. And as we talk about these custom items, the app is always going to phone in. So if a consumer at one location opens their app, it's going to phone in and say, hey, what's the loyalty program available to me here? What are the promotions that are available to me here? Because it knows what location you're shopping at, what location that you're tied to. And so having that available on the app right in their face, the ability to do push notifications that you mentioned earlier to announce promotions, but also to show them, hey, here's what tier you're at, and here's what you could be earning at the next tier, and so forth. And so putting that all right in their pocket, right in front of them every time they open it, I think really can help drive purchase intent.
And I think it's not just driving purchase intent, it's table stakes anymore, Jim. This is what the modern consumer is expecting. They're not just looking for quick, convenient, and run out the door. They're looking to be communicated with. They're looking to have a relationship, with their brand, with the companies that they're using. And so I think realistically, within our industry, we like to consider ourselves, a retail outlet. But quite frankly, through history, we've not done a very good job of being a relevant retail channel. We tend to be late to the game, just like we're late to the game a little bit now with realistic loyalty. And so I think now operators are at a spot where they need to have that relationship with the consumer, because it's not just other convenience solutions providers they have to battle against, or the DoorDashes or Uber Eats or other things of the world. So they need to have real loyalty, a real connection to their consumer, and not just that RFP checkbox minimum viable product, that we kind of discussed before to be able to move on. And I think this is a perfect tie that BiteBucks is able to accomplish this for operators.
Yeah, it's really, as you can tell, we're really excited to roll this program out. We've taken a lot of feedback, and we really feel like this is something different and unique for the industry. Being able to customize all aspects of your program, and if customizing the program is too overwhelming for you, you don't have to do it. We're going to have a general program that already exists out there. So, but if you do want to get to the point where you can customize or want to customize, obviously we're here to help. We have a great support team here with our kiosk platform, and we're here to help walk you through, customizing these programs as well. So we've touched on a lot of these benefits already. Customizing by location or no customizing by location, the ability to have tiers. You don't have to have tiers. earning points, earning perks like different promotions available at the tier levels. And, eventually we'll get to the point where, hey, instead of redeeming points for dollars off, you'll be able to redeem points for product. And that's even more advantageous to the operator.
Yeah, I've got to say, Jim, when I first came here, whatever it was 8 or 9 months ago, and I got the first peek of Byte Bucks, it's amazing the level of customization we have here. This really is giving the operators the ability to dive in, look at what are the things that are important, not just to them, but to their customers, and design the program to make sure they can maximize the benefit and value that they're giving their consumers. I've said this, for years now that, realistically, convenience solutions operators, we're all selling the same, can of Pepsi or Coke, or the same, Monster, or the same bag of Doritos. What really stands us apart historically has kind of been our service. The way we can now start employing ByteBucks loyalty to be able to target our accounts to provide things that are meaningful to each and every one of them in a targeted sense is so incredibly powerful, and will really allow operators to kind of stand above the crowd when they're trying to not just win new locations, but drive revenue at existing locations.
This all sounds really expensive, though, Bradlee.
It does sound expensive, doesn't it? Which is why I was utterly shocked when I got here and discovered the price of this.
Yeah, but it's not expensive, right? And as we do at VE, we try to bring value, not gouge or overprice things. So all this ByteBucks platform is all going to be included in your monthly fee with us. You get the full customization, the gamification aspects. Some of the financial pieces are you own the funds no matter what. Doesn't matter if they start their account in the app. Doesn't matter if they start their account at the kiosk. You will always get those funds.
And how often do you get those funds?
And you're going to get those funds every day, every business day, rather, I should say, with daily deposits. So, and then to cap it all off, the part that rounds ByteBucks off is we are also offering processing now, and you're going to get the lowest credit card rate, the lowest credit card processing rate in our industry with us as well.
Wait, so I can get daily deposits and pay less for credit card processing?
And get all these awesome features.
I wish I was still operating.
So appreciate everyone taking time out of your day to join us today. We hope you learned a little bit about our program and what some of our goals are here. We're really excited to start rolling this platform out. We've had several people running the platform now here for several months, and we're really excited to get more ByteBucks kiosks out there.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great thing for operators. I think again, I wish I had this kind of level of flexibility back when I was operating. I think it's going to be great because like we said, loyalty is now the expectation, and since it's not only the expectation, but it's the way that I keep saying we as operators. I think it's impossible to kind of shake that.
I think it took Bradlee like 3 months of working here before he started saying we as in VE. So,
but I got to be funny now.
He's still getting it.
I feel like I'm back with my old hat on now, though. Like we as the operator, it's kind of once it's in your blood, it never comes out. But I think it's just really important now to not just have loyalty that you need, but also have the loyalty to help you drive revenue, get favorable product mixes, and really engage, with the consumer. This is really just putting more and more control back in the operator's hands to provide the platform and programs that their customers want to drive revenue and really, deliver a better product to the end consumer. And quite frankly, that product isn't the thing we sell. It's the service and experience that we're giving.
Yeah, awesome. Well, appreciate everybody for joining us. If you'd like to learn more or schedule a one-on-one demo and dive a little bit further into it, scan the QR code. Feel free to reach out to myself or Bradlee if you know us, or feel free to reach out to your VE sales rep as well, and we'd love to get one scheduled for you.